book besties, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kyan and this is Kyan is Booked. And today I'm coming to you live. Today's Tuesday, so we have a couple more days left of school and then we will be on a winter break. And I'm in my mom's classroom. Actually, we teach at the same school. So I'm in my mom's classroom. I was coming to hang out with her for lunch, but I guess she's busy, which is kind of disrespectful. I guess I'll get over it. Anyway, I've been meaning to film this introduction so I can go ahead and start posting this vlog. But I will be, my plan is, okay, I'm gonna slow my thoughts down here. So my plan is to read Rina Kent's entire backlist in publication order because the God of series, I really want to read the God of series, but like they're the kids of the other adults in the rest of her worlds. So I really like to read those things in order. Like I was super behind reading the Kingmaker series because I went back and read Brutal Birthright. So I'm doing the same thing for Rina. I'm reading literally her entire backlist. So this is gonna be the first episode of that. And I read the Royal Elite series. And so this is the vlog of me reading and then like going deep diving into it. This is going to be a two-parter because I didn't want to put up an hour and 25-minute long vlog, so I split them up. So you have the Book Zero and Aiden and Elsa's trilogy in this one, and then you'll have the other 3 books in the next one. I had a lot of fun with this, so I'm really looking forward to what you guys think. But yeah, I'm excited to go on this adventure. And I think that's it. So let's get into my thoughts. Hey book besties, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about Cruel King from the Royal Elite series by Rina Kent. And as you know in the introduction, we're reading in publication order, my friends. And Cruel King's the first one. It's book 0. Now, this might be like a slight rant or whatever, but usually when I think of book zeros, like I think of books that are like 100 to 150 pages. Cruel King is a full-length novel, ladies and gentlemen. It is like 350, maybe 360 pages. I can't remember, and for whatever reason, I didn't write it down. So shame on me. Shame on me for that one. However, I am here to talk about Cruel King because I did really enjoy it for being like a full-length novel. That's a book 0 that starts a Royal Elite world. So think like UK really rich families, very powerful families. And it's like, you know, a private school they all attend. There's like the hierarchies and the dynamics and all of that. Like I feel like I need to make, like in my like note-taking book here, I feel like I need to like make a tree of this group. And then I'm going to have to like add on to it because I know there are people who come in on the sides. And then, like, I know somebody else gets married again. And then there are, like, other players over here. But we have the second generation. So I feel like I need just, like, one giant Rina Kent tree. So maybe I will do that when I'm doing this series. Who knows? But anyways, Cruel King follows Levi King, who is cousin to Aiden King. And obviously nephew to Jonathan King, who is the end-all be-all in the business world. Anybody who knows anybody knows Jonathan, wants Jonathan to be a partner. He is a businessman first and foremost, cruel, calculated, will do anything to win, right? So this is his nephew's book. And Levi slowly but surely falls for Astrid in this one. And oh my gosh, I can't remember who Astrid's the daughter of. She's caught up in all of this as well. Oh, I'll put it right here if I remember. And if I don't, maybe it'll come out later in my vlog. So it all kind of starts with that. So Levi is the football captain, and football when in this series is going to be soccer. So let's keep that in mind. It's not American football because this is set in the UK. So he's, you know, really, really amazing at the sport, like should be going pro. Over there, and it's just really, you know, like he's the kind of guy that like everybody wants to be with, but he can't be bothered to be with anybody else, I guess is the best way to say it. So he feels pretty obsessed with her, like, in the beginning. Like, I'm talking, like, within the first 100 pages, like, this man is, like, having feelings, and he's not used to having feelings, so he's like, what are these? Unsubscribe. That's how I feel sometimes, too. So I think that's kind of something, that we need to keep in mind here as he starts to spiral, and as he becomes even more obsessive over her, the fact that, like, he didn't even want to be here. Let's be honest, this man didn't want feelings. He didn't want to get married. He didn't have any of this in his future. And she just came, like, out of nowhere. And he's unhinged. He is alpha male to the extreme. He doesn't think anybody can tell him anything. So I'm not saying he's nothing like Aiden and Jonathan, but, like, he would be a tamer version of them. But he still has all of those tendencies. So I wrote down a favorite quote. I can't remember where, but I know it's like a little bit later in the book. And it's, I would have found you no matter what, princess. It was a matter of when, not if. So just like the inevitability that he's always felt about their relationship, like once he's accepted his feelings for her. And like he's possessive and he's like, nah, you're mine. And he wants all of her time. And, you know, I really like Astrid because he needs someone to balance him out, and she does an amazing job of doing that. And I think too that you know, like he's alpha, but like alpha in a way that you don't get annoyed by. Because when I talk about Aiden's books, because I've read, and this clip is just going to be for Cruel King because I still have a few things, like a few final thoughts that I have to write down for Aiden's trilogy, Aiden and Elsa's trilogy. But so I'm read up to that point in the series. Also too, I think it's really funny, like I'm sitting here and this is a complete like bubble thought right now. The amount of times y'all see me in braids, you're probably like, this girl never wears her hair down. I really just do it so it curls my hair. And I have a decent hairstyle for like 2 or 3 days. So here we are, friends. Back to why we're all here. So I really enjoyed it. I liked it. I gave it 4 stars because I always do that because like I understand that this is like a standalone, but there is also like there are intricate plot points that like I can feel are being set up that are gonna like go through the rest of the Royal Elite series, like the rest of the first generation. And I know that like that's coming. So there's a couple of things that I'm like, I wonder why we didn't get any answers about that. So that's why I rated it 4 stars. Like, it's off the charts hot. It's like this man, when I do my best dirty talkers of the year video for 2023, like he will be featured in it because, oh no, I read this. I'm still gonna include him. Anyway, trying to think about when I read it. I have to go back to Goodreads, but I think I read it like right at the start of 2023. So it's gonna count because I don't care. And I make the rules on this channel and I say it counts. So like his dirty talk is like unmatched. Like I was just like, yeah, dude, like I get it, Astrid. Like I'd want to sleep with him 24/7 too. Like what's going to school? Like what's doing anything? What's caring about like getting dressed and functioning in the real world when you have a man who's going to talk to you like that? So I completely understand where she's coming from. I do, like, their special thing is rainy days. So I think it's, like, really cute because, like, you know, she has this, like, really, like, I don't know, like, viewpoint on, like, rainy days and, you know, how they're cleansing and how maybe if she stands enough rainy days, like, she'll feel better or, like, you know, because she kind of struggles with, I don't, like, they're not suicidal thoughts at all, but, like, she really just kind of struggles with, like those negative spirals that like we can all kind of find ourselves in. So I really like that like once he picks up on that, like he'll like go out in the rain with her and stuff, and like they'll have like cute little like they'll dance in the rain to like no music whatsoever, or like he'll just sit out in the rain with her. So I think it's really like cute that like that's their thing. And I do like it because I know that they're featured in the next 3 books as well. So I like how this is going to be like one of those like interconnected standalone series, and we're going to get to see those other couples. And I'm not going to lie to you, like it's taking everything in me to not skip to the God of series because guys, like, I want their children. Like, I love second gen series, especially after you've read the parents part of it, because you're just like, I eat it up. So, Dirty Talker, Enemies to Lovers, Obsessive Hero, Alpha Hero. I think she's like, I don't want to say she's just, when I say soft, I don't want to say like, want it to mean like she can't handle herself. Like, when I think of her as like a soft to his hard, like the yin to his yang. It just takes him a little while to like figure it out, you know? We're all still trying to figure it out. But I really I liked their dynamic, and I really liked the fact that like, while he was cruel and like, while he was calculated, and while he like pushed those envelopes, like that envelope with her, I don't think it ever got into a territory that was just like, ugh. And I also really liked that their relationship evolved in a way that it almost seemed like he came to the inevitable conclusion before her. And I just love an alpha hero that falls first. Like, we all know it. I'm very consistent. So that's Cruel King. I really, really enjoyed it. Your next update's going to be Aiden and Elsa's trilogy, which is Deviant King, Steel Princess, and Twisted Kingdom. So I will be back at some point with that. I'm just kidding. I'll be back with that because I still have, I'm trying to decide how many spoilers I want to include, or if I just want to say, hey, this trilogy is under like a spoiler warning. So once I figure that out, like, I'll be back. So if you haven't picked up Cruel King, pick up Cruel King, because guys, you just can't go wrong with this man. All right. Okay. So I'm very official, like right in front of like where I normally film my like pre-planned content, I guess you could say. Because I've got to talk to you about the first 3 books for the Royal Elite trilogy. So Deviant King, Steel Princess, and Twisted Kingdom, which follow Aiden and Elsa, right? And really, I just want to like flex on the fact that like I have the Fit Teacher Rachel edition. It is signed, and the book plate is so like, you can almost like barely even tell, because like book plates, I'm not trying to be a snob when I say this, but like book plates just kind of like aren't my favorite. Anyway, that was a random rant that you weren't ready for or didn't even ask for. So we're here to talk about the first 3 books. And I really feel like the first 3 books kind of like set a tone for the rest of the series. And I've been trying to decide how I wanted to talk about it, because there's so much that's like crammed into these 3. And I wanted to read it like to where I read the cliffhangers like in front of the camera and stuff like that. But I started the books late, like at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And like, I just binged it. Like, I finished these 3 books in a day and a half. I barely slept, which I'm not recommending. I'm irresponsible when it comes to those things, and I'll admit it. So I'm going to see, I'm going to see if I can get all of this into a synopsis. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to spoil some stuff. I just cannot even lie to you. And I know I said this when I talked about Cruel King, and I think I said this in the introduction as well, where I was like, hey, this is going to be spoiler. So this is going to definitely be spoilers, because I can't remember everything in the synopsis for these 3 books. And I can't talk about like things that are going to be happening in later books, because it's a trilogy. So then like, I'd only be talking about Aiden and Elsa for like 3 minutes, and they're 3 books of the series. So I don't feel like it would be like doing them justice. Okay. So Aiden King is the son of Jonathan King, who is a business like savant. He owns like, they're over in the United Kingdom, and he owns like pretty much everything, right? And the parts that he doesn't own, Ethan owns. But Ethan's dead, right? And so his daughter, Elsa, is next in line to take over everything, like when she turns 18 or 21. I can't remember, right? So Elsa transfers, and she's going to school. She's been going to school a little bit at, I think it's Royal Elite Academy. I'm not even going to lie to you. Anyway, continuing on, because nobody cares about the name of the school. We care about the drama. So Aiden has hated Elsa from literally the day that he saw her, right? And she doesn't understand why. And one thing I've learned about like the kings, because you meet Aiden and Cruel King, is that like he's not doing it without a reason. We just like don't really understand why. Okay, so stick with me here. There's a massive, like their fathers didn't get along when Ethan was alive. And now that Ethan isn't alive, like obviously like there's still a feud happening. Okay. So then like they have this altercation in the beginning of the book, and I guess Aiden's finally done like waiting. He's like, you know what? Nope, I'm gonna take what I want. So he does, right? And what he wants is Elsa, but we don't understand why he wants Elsa, because I thought you hated her, sir. So we're all confused, right? But then he starts saying stuff like, because you were always mine, you just didn't know it yet. Okay, first off, cute as fuck. Second off, what do you mean I didn't know it yet? Sir? I'm confused, right? So we're going along, la la la, stuff's happening. We're being introduced to the other characters. So we've got Xander and Kim, Ronan, Cole, Silver, who's like the queen bitch. Like nobody likes her, but apparently like she wasn't always like that. Stuff happened in her past, trauma, if you will, happened in her past, and it kind of made her into that, right? So like they're the band of brothers, like they're all friends. And they're all like connected together because like their parents are like businessmen, politicians, the higher echelon, they're all rich, they're all blah, 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 whatever, right? So then we get to the end of the book, and Jonathan is very, very, very against Aiden and Elsa being together. So we get to the end of the book, and we find out after overhearing, and we're from Elsa's point of view at this point, right? Because she's pushing back on Aiden. She's like, I don't understand like why you're doing this. I don't understand this. I don't understand that. Like, leave me alone. Like, you don't even like me. You don't even like me. But she thinks his crazy ass is hot, and she wants to bang him. And you know what? I get it, girl. If anybody understands, it's gonna be me, right? So then we get to the cliffhanger, and the cliffhanger is that in between, so like Silver and Jonathan are having a conversation, and Jonathan lets it slip that the only reason why Aiden is even with Elsa is to get back at her, because Aiden's mom died because of Elsa's mom, right? So then Elsa's naturally upset, runs away, and someone shoves her into the pool. Now, she has a massive fear of water, and she's drowning in the pool, okay? So that's Deviant King basically in a nutshell, without me having to go too far in depth into like the nitty gritty, right? At this point in time, I don't like Aiden. And no, I take that back. I don't hate him, but I don't love him, because dude, it's been like 200 plus pages and you still haven't told us why you're mad. Like, open your mouth, use your communication skills, which granted, he doesn't have great communication skills, and like, tell us what's going on, man. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand why he was struggling so much with it, because he was like, no, you're gonna remember, like, I'm not gonna tell you, like, you know why I hate you. And she's like, do I know? Like, do I know why you hate me? Because I don't feel like I know. So that's happening, right? So then Steel Princess picks up right as she's being pulled out of the pool. And there's this new kid at school. His name's Knox. Nobody really knows where he comes from. He apparently got kicked out of his old school, just moved here, yada, 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 right? Kind of has a thing for Elsa, really pissing Aiden off, kind of pissing Aiden off intentionally because it's fun, you know, because it is. So he pulls her out of the pool, right? So then we're in this situation. I'm actually going to bring you guys closer since I'm going to lean back a little bit. This is so funny. I kind of like doing vlogs because I can kind of just like, I don't have to be like formal and official in my other videos, but like vlogs just feel like a little bit like chiller. So, my favorite part about like how Steel Princess starts is this quote right here, which is, for a moment I thought it was the end, because that's how the end feels like, right? It's endless. you know, because she's floating in the water and she is struggling to swim because she's terrified and all this is happening. So Nox saves her life, right? Aiden's furious because I know you didn't just try and kill my woman. And also still kind of like, I don't understand your obsession with me, right? She still bangs him though. Like they still hang out. Like they're still going to parties together. She doesn't know what's happening to her. She doesn't understand it. And us as a reader doesn't understand it either. But you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I haven't understood my attraction to men before. I haven't understood why I've liked someone more than I've liked another one. Or why like I can't like this one person, but I can like this person. So I've got nothing but respect for the fact that like she's on the struggle bus with this, right? And she wants to like him. He's starting to kind of warm up to her. So she's like, okay. So Aiden's ready to burn the world for her, right? And I'm still struggling with him right now because I don't understand as the reader why he won't just fucking tell her. Like, why do you hate her? Why are you holding a grudge? Like, what the fuck is your problem, bro? Like, open your mouth and tell me. But I also like him too because like he's psycho. Like he's absolutely insane and he's batshit for her. And I love that. And I love that for her. And I love how obsessed he is with her and how much he cares for her in a very like specific and fucked up way, right? Because like he's essentially obsessed with her and we don't understand the obsession still as a reader. Do I respect it? For sure. I absolutely respect his obsession with her, but I don't get it. Like pick me, I don't understand, right? So Jonathan, his dad, is still railing against this, right? He's like, you can't marry her. Like, we have plans. Like, you're supposed to take over the business world. And he just doesn't care because he's like, I'll kick the problem down the road. Like, I'll find a solution for it. Like, we don't need whatever plan we came up with when I was 10, right? I want to stop right here and I want to talk about the whole situation with Aiden's mom and Ethan's mom. No. Ethan's wife, who is Elsa's mom, because this is going to be a big point of contention when we get to Twisted Kingdom because shit twists, right? So, Jonathan and Ethan used to be best friends, and I guess they still kind of are, but they're like rivals now because like everything is a competition to them and they both have to be the best, okay? So they dared each other to marry somebody who wasn't necessarily mentally stable, okay? So Alicia, who married Jonathan, who's Aiden's mom, struggled with like she'd heard voices. She struggled with her own happiness, like depression. She was very like up and down. I don't necessarily know if she was diagnosed manic depressive, like bipolar, but I do know that she was supposed to be taking medication and she wasn't. And Jonathan struggled to force her to take the medication because he didn't want her to be unhappy. So that all happens, right? So Aiden's kidnapped by Elsa's mother. Let me say that again. Aiden is kidnapped by Elsa's mother, held hostage in their basement, and like kind of essentially tortured. Like, not like in the way that you think about torture, but anyways. So that happens, right? But we don't know any of this as a reader. We just know that Alicia, Aiden's mom, figures out in her mind where her son is, gets in a car, drives, and ends up dying in a car accident, right? So Aiden blames Elsa for the death of his mother, kind of, right? But Elsa doesn't remember any of this, none of it. So we get hit with a double whammy cliffhanger. So they're fighting and banging and fighting, right? He has insomnia. Anyway, so he just doesn't sleep, right? So he likes to come over and like watch her sleep, basically. Like obviously hold her and like cuddle with her and like watch her sleep. Sounds creepy, but like I think it's kind of cute. And she never sleeps better than like when they're together, right? So she somehow ends up in a situation where she's with Aiden, Jonathan shows up, Silver shows up, and guess what? We find out that Silver and Aiden are engaged. And She's like, what? Like, why did you tell me, you jackass? And like, at first I thought this is like the secret that he's been keeping from her this whole time. But like, Aiden doesn't care about Silver. She's a bully and a bitch and nobody likes her. And she doesn't care that anybody likes her. I don't know. We haven't really gotten a whole lot of her yet. I think she's going to be a heroine in the later part of the series. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Wow, this is a really solid 13-minute rant. I'm having the time of my life though. This is like so fun. So I'm thinking like that's it. Like that's the tea, right? Huge spoiler, even though I've just been talking spoilers this whole time. Her dad's not dead. He's been in a coma for 9 years, and guess what? He's back. And guess what? Knox is her foster brother because her dad's right-hand man, Agnes, has been raising Knox and his twin sister, Teal, who happened to be the first victims of her mom. So this is me at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I do have to go to work the next day, sitting there trying to do the math in my head. So some background on Elsa's mother is that she was mentally unstable. Elsa's older brother went into the went into a lake, drowned, and Elsa's mom would kidnap children to try and replace him. Right? Usually like homeless children that like nobody would really miss, etc. And her dad knew about it and like would get the kids to safety and just say, oh, they must have run away or died or whatever, and like just basically lie to her mom. And he has major regrets, we find out later, about not institutionalizing her when he should have, because like she wasn't safe to be around children, especially not his children, which is why she wasn't left alone moving forward with Elsa, right? So her dad's back. She's pissed at Aiden, pissed at him because he just can't tell her the truth. But do you know what's crazy about all of this is the fact that like he's still keeping a secret from her. That's the crazy part about all of this. So all this has come out. Aiden doesn't know that Ethan's alive though. Like nobody knows. Like he just like shows up like from the dead essentially. But 9 years in a coma, I feel like that's kind of the same thing. Shows up from the dead essentially and is like, what up? Yeah. So she's pissed. She doesn't want to see Aiden. So she goes with her dad, where she meets Teal, who's the other twin, to Knox, find out foster brother situation, like glad her dad's back, has like a complete breakdown, yada, yada, yada. So I'm going to pause right here. There's a lot of information. And I feel like I'd be remiss if I don't talk about the fact that she also has a heart condition from a fire that she was a part of when she was a child, right? We'll get back to that. So I'm going to pause right there. I'm going to say that. So dad's alive. She's mad at Aiden. Jonathan is so confused about the fact that his rival is like risen from the dead. And Elsa just like wanted Aiden to love her and trust her. And he wasn't able to do that. Right? I do like the fact because like Elsa like really struggles with, she has her own mental health struggles. And she sometimes wonders like if she's too dark for people, if the thoughts in her head like are too much essentially, and she worries about like letting other people see that. And I wrote down this quote because he's a psycho. Aiden is a psycho, but he says, you don't have to be ashamed of who you are with me, Elsa. You can be a fucking lunatic and I still wouldn't let you go. And I just like, I think that was a huge turning point for me because it was like a couple of chapters in, I believe, in The Steel Princess. And it really, for me, was just like, okay, maybe I don't quite understand where he's coming from. Maybe I don't know why he's doing things the way he's doing them. But he loves and he cares for her in his own way. And I mean, that's pretty beautiful in my opinion. And that's really kind of like the turning point for me, right? So let me get to Twisted Kingdom. And things are twisted, as I'm sure you can imagine. Aiden's trying to find a way to talk to her, to tell her that he's not really engaged. And so Silver helps him. They have that conversation. And she's still like, listen, bro, like, I love you and I care for you and I want to be with you. But like, I can't be with somebody who's just like never going to tell me the truth and like is always going to lie to me. Like, you're still lying to me, right? And she's pissed because she knows there's something that he's keeping from her and he just like won't tell her. Okay? And then all of a sudden, she starts like remembering the kidnapping and remembering going downstairs and talking to a boy and bringing him food and blankets and sneaking down to take care of him because her mom's not taking care of him, all of this stuff, right? And I'm gonna stop the spoilers there because I think I have you hooked, right? Oh my God, my throat's so dry. I'm filming other videos too, and I've already filmed 2 of them. This might be the last one. Although, yeah, this might be the last one for today. So, I'm gonna stop the spoilers right there because I don't want to ruin the end of I don't want to ruin how all of this goes down. Like, we know it's a happily ever after, but Elsa coming back to Aiden, I think, is what's so beautiful about their relationship. Because Aiden never apologizes for who he is, never tries to be somebody he's not, is very aware of who he is as a person. And I appreciate that about him because a lot of people would be like, you know, like, just, this is who I am, like, whatever. And he's just like, nah, dude, like, I'm crazy. Like, I know I'm crazy. I know I'm acting like a lunatic. I can't help myself though, because like, she's the love of my life, right? And I need to be with her. Like, she's it for me. I don't know why I just shouted. So they're kind of going back and forth, and there's like really cute like texting scene between the 2 of them. And she's not really responding back to him, and he writes, I'll dream for the both of us, because like, you know, she always tells him that like she doesn't dream. She mostly just has nightmares, which is really sad. And then he's like, choose me, Elsa, choose us. And I'm like, ugh, someone, right? And I really like too that Elsa's not the type of main character that we see in a lot of like the bully romances. Although like, I wouldn't classify this as a bully romance. Like, this goes like, these are deep familial ties. Like, we're talking things that transcend childhood, like drama. Like, it feels like more than just a bully romance, right? Although I'm sure some people would classify it as one because like, he is like a complete jerk to her, but calm down, the bully. I like the fact that like she is strong. I like the fact that she tries to stand up for herself. I like the fact that like she's questioning herself, because sometimes I feel like in bully romances, like, we don't, like, our female main character like almost like goes in on herself and will be like, oh, like, what if it's me? Like, what? No, like, no, girl, like, they're unhinged, right? And so what I appreciate about this is the fact that like Elsa never really believes that it's her, which I like, because it's not her, and it's a whole lot of like other people in the past. Like, oh my God, there's an eyelash, guys, I'm stressed. Anyways, there's like a whole lot of what am I trying to say? There's a whole lot of other things that go into it. So I don't want to say like, oh, it's just a bully romance, because it's not, because it's like a second generation almost. It's star-crossed lovers. It's second chance. It's enemies to lovers. It's everything that, like, you know, like, there's so much more that goes into it other than the fact that like he's just a jerk to her, period. Like, he makes her life a living hell, and then he tells her he loves her. Like, you know that meme where like there's a bunch of question marks that pop up everywhere, right? That's kind of how I felt. But honest to God, like, I think it's a beautiful story. And while Aiden wasn't my favorite, after reading Twisted Kingdom, I understood the arc. I understood why he did things the way that he did. And I understood why he never told her the truth about certain things, because she needed to remember certain things. And he was furious at her for not keeping her promise, but her memories were the problem. And I will say, like, I do really like Aiden. And will he be my favorite in the series? I don't know, because I'm really looking forward to some of the other characters that like we've met in this series. I'm really looking forward to their books, so I can't promise he's gonna be my favorite. But I see him being up there. But as always, like, I'll rank them. I mean, not always. Like, I've only done one ranking system. And then Gianna Darling released another book in the series, so I feel like I probably have to update that at some point. But anyway, that's a, you know, a side note. Well, she's releasing another book, like, caution to the wind. is going to be coming out. So anyway, so that is the first 3 books of the Royal Elite series, which is Aiden and Elsa's trilogy. Gosh, I'm kind of nervous for the next one, but it's Xander and Kimmy, and I want them together so badly. Like, I am obsessed with them. So I am gonna go get started on that book, and we'll add my thoughts in there. But I'm having the time of my life reading this series, and I really encourage you to read it as well. And I encourage you to kind of stick through the trilogy at least and get a bigger picture or like a bigger idea of what's happening, because I really don't think that like the first 2 books do Aiden justice. And I don't think he really gets his moment to shine until the entire arc comes together. Okay, anyways, I'm gonna go read about Xander and Kimmy now. So I'll be back for some more rants, I'm sure. Okay, bye. Hi, hello, welcome to the evening skincare routine. I'm just kidding. I'm not that type of a vlogger or anything like that. Like, I'm just trying to wash my face and, keep it together out here. I'm really excited because we're going to be talking about Black Knight today, and I'll pop it probably right up here. So we're going to be talking about Black Knight today, and so the first 4 books in the series so far have really like followed somebody with like the King last name, right? And also Elsa, whose dad is the other half of this like business world, right? So like Jonathan King owns the majority of it, Ethan owns the other part that he doesn't own, and they're always vying, right? So like we've kind of see like there's 2 families and like all of that. So now we're really moving on to kind of a new dynamic, and I've been really excited. I like Xander a lot. We've met him in previous books, so like I was really excited that he's kind of like the first one outside of a king that we get his story. So this is the story of Xander, and this is the story of Kimberly. And Kimberly is Elsa's best friend. We meet her in the first book. Like, she's had a lot of like body image issues. Like, I will say, like, if you struggle with body image, or if you ever have struggled, or if you're continuing, whatever, like, if those types of things are triggering for you, like, I'd be really careful reading this book, because there's a lot of instances where she really does struggle with who and what she looks like, and she goes from being somebody who is larger to somebody who is tinier in hopes that the people closest to her will love her. And the driving factor behind this is her mother, who let's just say that with like a grain of salt, because like I can't stand this woman, because she has 2 kids and she doesn't care about them. Like, she's an artist, and she has shows and exhibits, and like she like kind of like portrays this like I'm like, I have this family, blah blah, like all this kind of stuff, but like it's never about her children. Like, she never does anything for her kids, and she like, you can tell how disappointed in Kimberly she is, and how she didn't turn out to be like the tall, slender, perfect version that her mom was looking for. So Kimberly spends like her entire life trying to live up to the expectations of this woman who doesn't deserve it. So we'll just like, I'm gonna stop my rant there, because I didn't like this woman. I didn't care that in the end, like, she ended up alone, because that's kind of how I felt like she should have. Like, she had 2 amazing kids. Like, Kimberly's always taking care of her brother, because her mom is like neglectful. Her dad, I can't remember off the top of my head, but he's like kind of a big deal in the government. And so he's traveling and he's doing all the stuff that he has to do for his job. And he's like, well, like, my wife is at home, and like she's taking care of the kids, but she's not. Like, she's neglectful. If there wasn't a staff, if Kimberly wasn't there, like, her younger brother would have had no one, right? So her and Xander were friends like very early on, like 7, 8, I think they met at the park, and they became fast friends, right? And they did everything together, and they were best friends, and like each side, like as they got older, like kind of started to like develop feelings, and they talked about the fact that like we're gonna get, they love each other, and like they want to be together. And then something happens, like she plays a trick on him. He comes back out of like the woods, like she plays a trick and like sends him into the woods for something. No reason, blah, blah. He comes back out and he's angry, and he takes it out on her. He doesn't tell her why, and they stop being friends. So we fast forward to modern day, right? Modern day, present day. I know what I'm trying. Present day. Anyway, so we fast forward to present day, And this is like the sticky situation, right? So there's a secret that Xander's keeping of a reason why they can't be together. And if you know me, you know I struggle with that because I'm just like, okay, like spit it out so you can solve the problem, right? So this one gets a little tricky. So like they get into situations of where like Kimberly thinks things are going well, and then like Xander just like turns on her. And I didn't fault him for it when I found out that he overheard a conversation between his dad and her mom making a comment about how Kimberly was his dad's daughter, which would have made them siblings, right? So then we spent a couple of chapters being like, oh my gosh, is this like a Cassandra Clare situation? So if you've read Mortal Instruments, then you know there was like kind of like this dynamic between Jace and Clary, like in the beginning of the series. I digress. Anyway, so we have this dynamic of they're just like, oh my God, like we're blood relatives. Like we've kissed. We've gone further than that. Like they're trying to grapple with all of this, right? Like they're trying to figure out what's happening. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this, blah, 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 right? So then everything kind of blows up, and like Xander's substance abuse problems are becoming like more, like increasingly more and more of a problem. Like it's beginning to impact, because he plays on the football team, it's beginning to impact that, right? It's beginning to impact all of the other interactions she's having. And like even his guy friends are like, listen, man, like you've got to chill out, right? So I realized I still have my face wash on. So anyway, so that's all happening, right? And Kimberly is just like, I can't believe that, like, I still can't get over him, knowing what I know. She's like grappling with like all of her, you know, she's tinier. She's not getting made fun of as much. Because she lost like a lot of weight because she was tired of people bullying her for it. And, you know, she's struggling with her image issues so much to the point that she's like, I don't even know if like I want to do this anymore. Like just life. So if that can be triggering for you, like that's something to keep in mind. Like just think like if something happens in a dark romance, like there is the potential for it to happen in a Rina Kid book, and you just really have to be prepared for that. So all of this is happening, blah, 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 blah. Like they're in love. Like his substance abuse issues are out of control. She wants him to get help, blah, blah, blah. So then her dad comes home, right? Stick with me here, okay? Because I had to think about this one too. Her dad comes home, and then she's like crying or whatever, and like she's expressing to herself like why she feels the way that she feels and all this kind of stuff. Come to find out, Xander is actually his son. So they're not actually siblings. And all the adults know, and they just decided to raise the kids the way that they've raised the kids because it makes the most sense, right? And they just didn't plan on telling them. So surprise, guys, they're not siblings. And you know what happens next? You know, they hop into the bed that they've been avoiding because they thought they were related, right? So all this is happening, right? And you've got Xander who's like batshit for this woman, right? And he's like, I know she's my soulmate, like I'm obsessed with her, but I shouldn't be because it's wrong. And Kim's like, I don't know, like I love him, but like he's my brother. And then come to find out they're not, so they're not able to be together. But the problem is he's still addicted to alcohol, and he still cannot get his substance abuse under control, right? So there's a really great conversation with the dads, and like Xander knows that her dad's actually his dad, and she knows that his dad's actually her dad. But for the sake of like, you know, the media and everything like that, like they're just gonna keep it like kosher. They're just gonna keep it the same. They're not gonna like switch families. They're not gonna come out and say anything about it, whatever. So they want to be together, but Kim's like, I can't do this if you're gonna be an addict, and I can't be with you. Like there's a lot of things I can overlook. I can overlook how possessive you are. I can overlook how like bossy you are and how alpha you are, and like just your overall demeanor and all this kind of stuff. She's like, but I can't overlook a substance abuse problem that could take you from me, right? And y'all, when I tell you that I just, despite the issue of her attempting to commit suicide and him finding her, despite like how really, like I felt like this one was really dark, and like, which is funny because like Aiden and Elsa literally deal with multiple kidnappings. But anyways, I just felt like their comeback from the setback was so beautiful. And I really liked how, like, in some romances, like, you get this whole situation of, like, this problem is solved, that they can't be together, and then they're still holding back. But as soon as they knew what they knew, they were like, cool, like, you're mine, I'm yours, and we'll be together forever, right? And so, like, you know, he kind of gives the alcohol up, but then it kind of sneaks back up on him. And he's, like, really honest with his dad. He's like, I can't be with her if I'm going to be like this. Like, I need to be healthy. I need to be okay. Like, I can't do this to her, and I can't do this to me, right? So he does end up seeking treatment. And that's something that I really, like, liked to see, because, like, sometimes, like, I'm not saying this is in all romances, but sometimes you like to just be like, oh, like, we're in love, so, like, I'm not an addict anymore. And it's really not how it works in the real world. So I really appreciated Rina for being very, like, realistic about what this looks like. Because, I don't know why I can't close this. A little Vaseline for the lips, even though it's like 70 in Florida, but whatever. So I just really, like, guys, I just loved their dynamic. I loved Xander. I really liked him in the previous books too, so I was really excited for his. I mean, I'm excited for Ronan's, and I'm assuming we're gonna get Cole's book as well. So, like, it's just a really good, like, group of friends, and I loved, like, the standalones that, like, you know, move from, like, one person in the friend group to another person in the friend group. So I was really looking forward to Xander's, and, like, he treated Kim horribly in the first 3 books, but, like, he was lashing out because of his emotions and because of how much he liked her. And, like, this man's been in love with her for, I don't know, probably since they were, like, 10. So finding out that they were related, like, shook him. And I get where he was coming from, because he's like, she's the love of my life, and you're trying to tell me that, like, we're related to each other? Disgusting. And he felt like he literally started drinking as much as he was because he felt like he was doing something wrong because of the fact that they were related, right? So a lot of it, like, was triggered because of that. But there's so many moments that I loved between the two of them, and there were so many things that I loved about their relationship, especially when they were able to be together, and just, like, the honest conversation that he had when he talked to her and was like, hey, I know we just got together. I know we can finally be together. I know you need me because everything blew up with her mom. Like, she committed suicide, and that really, like, made him uncomfy, which I totally get, because it would have made me uncomfortable too. And he's like, I don't want to leave you because, like, I know you need me. He's like, but you need me to be whole and be able to be supportive of you, and, like, I can't do that like this. And just, like, the maturity from him to, like, reach out and be like, hey, I need help. Like, I thought, like, that was, like, one of my favorite parts. Not even the part where, like, because I figured they weren't related, obviously, there's a happily ever after. Like, Rina can't, like, cross a lot of lines, but I don't think incest is one of them. But I could be wrong because I haven't read her whole backlist yet. But anyway, I just really loved the fact that, like, he knew he needed help. And yeah, it took him a little bit to get there. But, like, once he got there, he was just really honest with her and was like, you need me to be 100%. I need me to be 100%. And the only way I'm going to do that is if I go to this treatment program. And, like, he's able to call, and, like, she doesn't usually ever, like, really talk to him, I don't think. I think it's just a call between him and his dad, if I remember it correctly. And he's just like, and the first thing he always asks is, like, how's she doing? And I just thought it was, like, a really, like, beautiful way of representing, like, how addiction can, I want to say, like, overcome, because, like, an addict, once an addict, always an addict. But, like, just a really beautiful way of someone coming to the realization that they need help, asking for help, and then, like, what that looks like on the other end. So Xander and Kim, or Xan and Green, 5 stars from me. I loved them. I loved the story. There were just so many parts of this that, like, I was giddy for. Even, like, kind of the parts that hurt. And as somebody who's, like, really struggled with my body image, I couldn't imagine, like, having a mother who made that worse. Like, my mom's never made it worse. If anything, she's always been supportive. You know, like, even in those times that like I'm personally struggling, like she's always been there for me. So I couldn't imagine like that one figure in your life that's supposed to be supportive of something turning on you like that. So she's the villain of the story. Nobody else. We can't stand her. And I hope her art career completely disintegrates. So anyway, those are my thoughts on Black Knight. I loved it. It was so good. And I loved Xander and I loved Kim. And it's just, I feel like the deeper you get in the series and like the more the overall like plot points kind of come together, like obviously like it's interconnected standalones. So it's just so intricate and just like so fun. Okay. So yeah, that's it. I'll be back. Next up is Ronan and Teal's book, which I am anticipating. Like, I'm really excited. I really love the matchups that Rina put together for this series. So we'll see how I feel here soon. But yeah, long live Xander and Kim, because they make my heart so happy.
All right, and that does it for part 1 for our Royal Elite series. Come back for part 2, which is going to be posted later this week. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day, no matter where you are in the world. And I will catch you in the next one, so make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so that you know when my vlogs go live. But yeah, see you in the next one.